The following program is a Creative Magic Network production. You're listening to What's Your Excuse with Max
Hello
Ivy,
there,
known
ladies and
around
gentlemen.
the
This is
world
Max
as the
Ivy,
Blind Blogger.
known around the
We
world
can
as the
often
Blind
say,
Blogger.
if Max can
Okay, I
do
thought I heard you
it,
say
then
go
why can't
live.
I?
I'm sorry.
Here's Max Ivy. All right, let's go, Max. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Hey, that's the beauty of live anything, is it just happens. Hey, guys, this is Max Ivy, the Blind Blogger, Mr. Midway, Mr. No Excuses, with my good friend and co-host and producer and whatever else he does I don't know about, Frederick By.
Hello.
In case y'all can't tell, I'm not drinking decaf today, okay? So I think this is like my third cup. Apparently, I didn't realize this until last night, but that's neither here nor there. I'm calling you from the train, and funnily, we're just now stopped, so there won't be any train noises for a while. But for those of you listening who don't know about it, or didn't read the description, I have one of what they call the Amtrak Riders in Residence. They give out 24 of these a year, and they select these people from thousands of applicants who submit their biographical information, their social media contacts, and a long writing sample of, I think, 4,000 words is what they recommend. And in my case, I submitted the first few chapters of my first book, Leading You Out of the Darkness into the Light, A Blind Man's Inspirational Guide to Success, which you can actually purchase through the Creative Magic store at frederickby.com. Did I do that good?
You did perfect, man. You did perfect. Hey, this is exciting. This is an exciting time for you. I can understand, winning this contest and then going on. Is this your first time to New York City?
This is my first time to New York City. This is my first time on a train. This is my first time to go to any big city as far as that goes. And usually when I travel places, I travel with the family. I traveled around the country for 15 years with the carnival, but in that case, there was always a bunch of other people along with you. And in this case, the only people I got along with me are my friends and fellow online business people and people like you and the staff at Amtrak, my host that I'll be staying with, that I connected with through Airbnb, and just whatever good people I happen to meet along the way. So that is a big difference in what I'm used to.
Right. And so, all right, so talk to us a little bit. So when did you leave? What are you going to do in New York? And what are your plans moving forward? Because, man, you have a lot of stuff going on with your book going audio. And, man, winning this contest must have been an accomplishment, some type of accomplishment for you.
Yeah, it was. It was it's still a big deal to me. And so far, actually winning it seems to be bigger than going on the trip. But I think that'll change once I actually get into the city and experience the energy that is New York during the holidays firsthand. But yeah, it was a big thrill. And especially since I never expected to win. I mean, I think I've told you the story. I'll tell it again. When I applied for it, I made the mistake of reading the bios of past winners, and I started reading about these other people who had won it before. And I'm like, Max, Max, you grew up watching Sesame Street, and about then I was humming the music to which one of these is not like the others, because I'm like, these people are established screenwriters, poets. They've won they've won other retreats and awards and scholarships, and I was actually thinking about not submitting the application. And then I read somebody's comment on the blog about the contest, and one woman wrote something to the effect of, I wish y'all didn't just take already successful people, because if you would take people that are on there that are still trying to make it, I would apply for this. And that just struck me as something really sad, that you wouldn't just go ahead and put your name in either way. And once I read that pretty much galvanized me to go through the process and fill out the application and send it off. And when I sent it off, I'm like, if they take me, fine. If they don't, fine. But there's no way I'm not going to try submitting it. And I had actually forgotten I had even submitted it when they called me up and told me that I had won it. it had been several months between applying and finding out that I was selected. And for me, I apply for a lot of things. I send out a lot of emails. You know me, I tell people just press send, and sometimes I press send more than maybe I should. But that's the way I like to do things, you know. My daddy always told me that if you don't ask, they can't say yes, and I try to live that way. I try to do it the way I tell other people to do it. And thankfully, the people at Amtrak, they didn't even consider whether or not they should give the thing to a blind rider. They just decided that my work was good enough that they wanted to include me in their group. And unlike a lot of people in my circle, they never said, you know, Mr. Ivy, you need to have somebody go with you, or we would love to have somebody go with you, or our lawyers would like somebody to go with you, or any of that stuff. They just said, Mr. Ivy, if you would like to bring somebody with you, because of the fact that you are visually impaired, if you did want to do that, we would cover their costs as far as the transportation and the meals on board.
Wow.
So that was a nice gesture on their part, and I was really impressed by it, because I honestly thought that they would be like a lot of people that I have heard from over the last few weeks, and be more scared for me than I am for me.
Yeah. And you know, you always have interesting stories like that, and I suggested to you last time we spoke that you should do, like, you know, podcasts where you tell your life, not tell your life story, but tell the stories and lessons you've learned, you know, instead of always having a guest. But that's just my opinion, because I think you have great stories to tell. But hey, tell us about, because you ranted a little bit on Facebook. Just tell us a little bit about those rants and what they were about.
Yeah. I've noticed here lately that as the more and more people have been negative around me, I've noticed my patience is growing thin, and this is not something I'm proud of, because my daddy raised me to be a Southern gentleman, and that means you're very slow to anger and you're quick to apologize, even if you weren't wrong. You know, that's the way I was raised. But there's been so many people telling me that I can't go, or somebody needs to go with me, or maybe I won't come back. And the joke is on them. If I don't come back, it won't be because somebody kidnaps me. It'll be because I get a better opportunity, and just decide once I'm off the leash not to go back to the yard. You know, that'll be the only way I don't make it back home, in my opinion. But yeah, I got a little upset, a little frustrated, and I posted a rant. I said, you know, if the next person that posts on here about how I shouldn't go to New York by myself, or I need somebody to go with me, I'm going to throw something. And the bad thing about blind people throwing things is that we generally end up on our knees, crawling around the floor, trying to find all the pieces and hopefully put it back together. And I think another rant is not directly associated to that was I posted on Twitter and Facebook about, could we please finally get it that you should ask people before you add them to groups on social media, because I'm getting sick and tired of having to pull the weeds, as I call it, and get rid of all these stupid groups that I never wanted to be in to start with. But then I've got to go through the process of unsubscribing and then clicking the box to hopefully make sure they don't subscribe me again. And it would be bad enough if these people did it like once or twice, but in the last week, I've had 3 different people on my Twitter account subscribe me to over 10 groups, one right after another, with so quickly there wasn't even space between them for another post on my feed.
Right. You know, I read that on your Facebook yesterday. I think you wrote it on yesterday, right? That you were tired of people.
Yeah, yesterday.
You to the group. And you know what? I went through my email subscriptions, like, you know, like Gmail. You know, if you have like the promotions, and I just deleted, unsubscribed to so many of them. I'm like, I never read this. I never read that. You know, I'm just. Like, we're in a business where we send emails to subscribers too. You know what I mean? So,
oh yeah.
But, you know, it's like, look, there's a bunch of emails that I don't even read, don't even care for. And it's like, I just deleted it. I just unsubscribed to all of them. I ran on a unsubscription, spree or whatever, yesterday, because I was thinking about what you wrote on Facebook. I was like, yeah, he's right, man. Screw it, you know. I'm just gonna keep the emails that I actually read, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a major time-saving device. And as many more people are starting to learn nowadays, in order to be helpful to others, you eventually have to be selfish about your time and your energy.
All right.
So, removing, unsubscribing from people like that is a great thing to do. I found out last week when my laptop was in the shop and I was doing everything or trying to do everything from my iPhone, that if the people you subscribe to or who subscribed you to their list, if they follow the rules, there's a little button right up at the top of the email that will say, press here and we'll unsubscribe you. And you don't even have to click the link or go to their website. It's just something in your email program. And I'm like, that's another example of how my iPhone is better than my laptop, because I would have to click a link, then I'd have to go enter my email, and then I'd have to double click and tell them, yes, I'm sure I want to leave your mailing list.
Yeah.
So, a lot of things are better with the iPhone, and I recorded a video about this. I honestly think that my life is better, that I'm using my iPhone more assertively, because the keyboard on my laptop broke, and I didn't have a choice. So for a week, I started trying things I hadn't been willing to try before using my iPhone. And, just this morning, I sent a text to my host, and I said, why don't you text me the address and the directions to where I'm going to be staying, so I'll have it on my phone instead of just on my email program on my laptop.
Right.
And, I'm now getting better at changing the phone numbers to names, so I can just tell Siri, hey, Siri, call so-and-so or send them a text, Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of this is just attributed to not having a laptop and the keyboard for even 4 days. So if somebody has a new smartphone or some sort of electronic or computer-based technology that they're struggling with, I say figure out what your crutch is and get rid of your crutch for a few days and just see if that doesn't help you speed up that learning curve and get over some of those mental blocks that you're having. It sure worked for me.
Right. And all right, so Max, you won the contest in February, and they said, hey man, you're going to New York City. You can bring anybody you want. And then you left, I think 2 days ago.
Yeah, I left on Tuesday. Tuesday at 12:15. So
okay, so you left Tuesday 12:15 from Texas, and now tell us about your trip. Where did you go? What did you visit? And more importantly, because you're by bus, right? Am I right? Or train?
No, by train.
Yeah, by train. So you have time to kind of observe your country from a window, through a window. I don't know. What did you see? What did you learn? And which places did you see so far?
All right. Well, I haven't really seen much of anything so far.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm going. No, no, that wasn't where I was going. But thanks for leading me into a good joke. I'll have to thank you for that in the book. Here's the thing. I was planning on seeing the scenery through the other people on the train. However, I didn't realize or take account for the fact that I've never been on a train before. The train is moving at high speed. It's bouncing all over the place. I don't have any frame of reference as far as the layout of the cars or how to get from one place to the next. So I wasn't as assertive as I should have been the first day or so on the train. So the first day I was in a traveling car or a coach car, but there wasn't anybody there. It was just me. I did meet one nice fellow who walked over on his return trip from the bathroom and said hi. And the next thing I know, we're having about a 30-minute conversation. So Anthony, the guy I met from San Francisco, that was a great talk. And then at the end of the first day, we laid over in New Orleans. But the thing about New Orleans is you get there after 10, you have to leave there before 7. And so I didn't see any of New Orleans outside the train station. I chose not to get a motel room because in New Orleans with the taxes and a cab ride back and forth, it would have been over $100 that I feel will be much better spent in New York. I know they say New Orleans is one of those cities that's up all night, but still, if you don't get somewhere till after 10 o'clock, it's kind of hard to hit the streets running. So I chose to use my laptop bag as a pillow and get about 6 hours sleep in the train station, which is something I believe only a former carny can do well. Once you've slept in the back of pickups or stretched out on ride platforms, sleeping in a chair ain't a big deal anymore.
Right.
But then yesterday morning we left New Orleans, and they put me into a actual sleeper room. And again, I told the attendant that I wanted to go move around more, but it seems like every time there's breakfast, then there's lunch, then there's dinner. So with the schedules changing, but this morning would be proud of me. I did actually insist, and we went to the breakfast there about 45 minutes.
All right, you're breaking up, Max. All right, so Max is breaking up. All right, guys, I just want to say right before continuing this conversation, you're listening to What's Your Excuse with Max Ivy. And guys, if you have a passion or something that fuels your curiosity, well, on top of getting fascinating interviews such as this one straight to your inbox, when you subscribe to our free Creative Magic community, you will get super cool exclusive gifts in return, such as the ebook Happiness Quotes by the Ambassador of Happiness herself, Maura Sweeney, one of our hosts. And also, all you got to do is go to frederickbuy.com. That's Frederick with a C, buy like bye-bye.com. And you can subscribe for free. Be part of the Creative Magic community. It's a very, very cool community. You will get a bunch of cool stuff. Come on, Max. Hey, Max. Hey, Max. Hey, what's up? Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's continue, man.
All right.
All right.
Hey. we might as well get into the obvious subject, and that is that the internet on trains is crap, man. I mean, I know it's not all their fault. I mean, I've used internet on Greyhound buses before, and it wasn't anywhere near as good as this. But the first day I was on one of the oldest trains in their line, which didn't have internet access at all, so I had to depend strictly on the 3G service from Sprint. And then yesterday I was on one that had new Wi-Fi, but it kept giving everybody a server error, which meant you didn't have internet at all. And today we have internet, but apparently we don't have strong enough internet. So I don't know what to tell you. I do know this much. Whenever I was using my laptop and it would search for Wi-Fi connections, I noticed that quite a few people on this train are using those portable wireless hotspots from their phone or some other device, and I think that's probably because it's more reliable than using the train's Wi-Fi.
Right. Yeah, because while you were gone, I drifted into 12 things to do with kids for Christmas, so I had to entertain our crowd. So I went to in another direction. But okay, so let's move on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's why we do this thing together, is because it's the odds are pretty good we'll get a good show between the two of us, or the three of us if we have a guest.
Yeah.
But back to the point you were making before we got cut off, and you said that you think I should do a show where I just share stories and experiences, and I think you've got a good idea there. I think we should do that about once a month, and I've actually been trying to write more of my stories down, figuring that at some point I'll publish them in a book as well. So it wouldn't hurt me to be telling some of these stories on the show or on a monthly show, because like I say, it could definitely get some interest if and when I release a book of some of the stories. So that's something we need to schedule. So we'll talk about that after the show, because I think we only get about 45 minutes at a stretch with Spreaker.
Yeah. So
but thanks for that suggestion. It's a good suggestion. We'll definitely do it.
Yeah. I think because every time we have a guest, I always feel like you start telling stories, but you can't go all the way. You understand what I'm saying? Because the conversation has to be about the guest.
Yeah, well, that's I understand. Well, see, that's just me trying to put things in a frame of reference that makes sense to me, so I can understand what the guest is talking about. But you're right. It does have to come back to the guest and their story. And that's one of the real big differences between being a guest and being a host, is because as the host, it is all about the guest and making them look and sound good. And sometimes I'm not as good at that as I would like to be, but we've only been doing this about 3 months, and I'll get better at it, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. Hey man, okay, it might be the last episode before the new year, if I'm not mistaken, or the one before last one. What are some of your goals for the new year, and where would you like to take? Because a lot of people, for the new year, oftentimes it's goal setting, it's you want to relax during the holidays, but as entrepreneurs, you're thinking about the beginning of the year, and usually the beginning of the year, it's where, people are getting excited. You know what I mean? Like it's time to, it's a new year. I want to go to the next level, and they do goal setting and do this and do that. And, so what's your plan for the next year? And how do you feel about the whole goal setting thing?
Okay, first, I feel like goal setting is a good thing. We all need to have goals, easy, medium, and hard ones. I believe in the power of a vision board, but you know what I say about vision boards. A vision board is useless without a gratitude border, which means that you have to be thankful for all the little stuff along the way to the big stuff. And most everybody knows about, putting your one big goal on a card, putting pictures of stuff you want on your wall, things like that. But most people don't focus on celebrating their successes. So if you do both, then yes, goal setting is fine. And if it's all about dreams and not about action, then that's not good either.
Yeah.
Me, as far as the next year, I actually sat down during my non-internet time yesterday and wrote. One of the things I wrote about was dreaming bigger dreams, and I was thinking to myself, so here's some of the things I want to do next year. I'm working on a book based on the Amtrak experience, which may go back as far as before they started calling me the blind blogger and up to the train experience. I'm not sure yet. My editor, Lorraine, regularly has advised me not to write big books because smaller books sell better, and in the current market, you'd be better off to write 2 or 3 medium-sized books as opposed to one big one. So we'll see how it works out. This may be 1 book. It may be 2. I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
I don't see it as a trilogy, but who knows? We'll find out when we get there, because one of the things I'm having to remind myself is, Max, don't plan the whole thing. Let the story tell itself. So that's what I'm trying to do. As far as future goals,
don't you find don't you find that that's a metaphor for life too? Don't write your story.
Oh, absolutely,
let the story
absolutely.
Write. Yeah.
Yeah, too many people are trying to write their own story. They're trying to force it. They're trying to push things and make them fit. And this reminds me of something my dad used to say. When people would be assembling rides on the Midway, sometimes they would get a hammer and try to force things so they'd go together. And my dad used to tell them, "Hey, if they meant you to bang on it like that, they would have sold us a hammer when we bought it." And so. Things are not supposed to have to take that much effort to get them to fit. So yeah, I agree. Let the story tell itself. And
did we lose Max once again? All right. So because I thought that the topic of setting goals is very, very important. And once again, I'd like to share with you a little bit of my perception about, goals. Because there's that website. It's called mindtools.com. It's mindtools.com, and they talk about SMART goals. Now, what does that mean? SMART doesn't mean that you have to be smart. It doesn't mean that you have to be. It's meant for people who are. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what. It's only a metaphor for. You start with the letter S, which means specific. You need a specific goal to get to the next level for the next year. It can be too vague. It can be, guys, you can't say, I want to be rich. Well, that really doesn't do anything for you. Okay. You want it to be smart. And talking about being smart, I'm sorry. Okay. So yeah, I got it right here. Specific. Number 2 means measurable or meaningful. But how can you measure it? You got to be able to. It has to be, just a goal that is measurable. I wanna do this, and you can see it. You can touch it. For the smart thing, attainable or action oriented. If you feel that it's doable, you're probably going to be more inclined to do it and to go after it. So that's just another thing. Or relevant or rewarding. It has to be. You have to be motivated. It has to enlighten you. It has to bring you it has to bring that light out of you. You know what I mean? And so relevant is another one that I think is very important. And the last one is T for time bound. How much time do you give yourself to attain? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? And as my opinion, this is what I learned in my life. When it comes to the time thing, there's that quote, and I read that from Wayne Dyer. It just says, if you want to make God laugh, tell him all about your plans. So, I think that it's important to set goals and to have a plan, but guess what, guys? It's probably not gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. And it's during those periods, those time periods that you're going to, you gotta adapt, and you gotta kind of be flexible enough to change with times. And mindtools.com, they also give a few steps for setting goals. And the step number 1, they say, is setting lifetime goals. And I think that's super important. I think it's something that sometimes we omit, that we forget, because when we think goals, we think now. And I don't think it has to be that way. I think it's important. What do you really want? And don't say, and this is what I learned again in my life, not to say, I don't want this, I don't want that, no. I truly believe, and this is just my perception, that the universe works with, I want this. It's always on a positive type of tone. You know what I mean? And so they say step number 1, the first step is setting personal goals, is to consider what you want to achieve in your lifetime, or at least by a significant and distant age in the future. So, to give a broad balanced coverage of all important areas in your life, try to set goals in some of the following categories, or in other categories of your own. You can choose where these are important to you. So obviously you have career. What level do you want to reach in your career, or what do you want to achieve? Number 2, financial. Oh, the money. Everybody, I had this conversation with Patricia Aberdeen recently, and something that really irritates me is when money is such a controversial subject that, I believe that most people, 98% of the people in the world want it, but they don't admit that they do want it. And I don't know. So how much do you want to earn? By what stage? How is it related to your career goals? It's very important. Education. Is there any knowledge you want to acquire in particular? I've learned once again that if it's just all about money, you're probably not going to have the perseverance to go forward and to move forward. So that's another important thing, that, you must enjoy the process. I'm taking classes in investing, and we're not going to talk about investing here. We're going to talk about, I don't want to bore you, but but even then they say if you think that it's all about the money, then no, it's about the process, and hopefully you will enjoy the process. You must enjoy the process. So this is another point. And then family. To me, you can be successful in your career, and it's like Tony Robbins said, if you're not happy in your personal life, in your intimate life, I don't care how successful you get, you're not a happy person, period. So do you want to be a parent? If so, how are you going to be a good parent? How do you want to be seen by a partner or by members of your extended family? Another important point. Artistic. Do you want to achieve any artistic goals? So many of you are listening to the Creative Magic Network. I know you have artistic goals. I know you're painters, you're writers, you're this or you're that, or you're, and art. What I love about art is that it's all about the spirit. It's all about the heart. It's all about the, it's all about that kind of stuff. And oftentimes we do our art not for the money, but for the joy of doing it, for the process of it. If you have an artistic will inside of you, it's got to get out. I know how you feel. I absolutely know how you feel. Attitude, guys. I'm sure you learn. I don't need to tell you this, but attitude it's pretty much all about attitude. Is any part of your mindset holding you back? Is there any part of the way that you behave that upsets you? That's what mindtools.com write. If so, set a goal to improve your behavior or find a solution to the problem. Right? Right. We need that. Solutions to problems. Physical. Hey man, in my opinion, if you have a great body, it will help with your mind. You have a great mind, it will help you with your body. I'm a huge Louis Hay fan, and Heal Your Life. It's all about your thoughts. It's all about, hey, when you go to the gym, when you're tired, when you've done a physical work, or even just walking, that's when I don't know, it empties your mind, and I'm sure you've heard that before. And are there any athletic goals that you want to achieve, or do you want good health deep into old age? What steps are you going to take to achieve this? And they don't have to be big steps. I know I've been in the fitness industry for 9 years now, or 7 or 8 years, and I've been training for 17 years. And I know this. Start small, even for your training. You don't have to go to the gym at five times a week. I see people all the time, in gyms in January, February. You see them and I'm motivated. I'm going to the gym, and they're going 5 times a week, 5 to 6 times a week. By March or April, trust me, the motivation is gone. And so start small. You don't need to start going 5 times a week. Go 2 times a week. Go 2 times a week not for an hour, for 30 minutes. Just do a 30-minute workout 2 times a week. And that will be much better than going 5 times a week than not go at all in March or April. And then pleasure. How do you want to enjoy yourself? All of this, in my opinion, is meant to enjoy yourself. And I'm glad that Mind Tools put pleasure in there, because it's something that we forget. Hey, it's about work, but it's also about pleasure. How do you want to enjoy yourself? You should ensure that some of your life is for you, not for anybody else but you and your enjoyment. And public service. Do you want to make the world a better place? Do you want to make the world a better place? I'm pretty sure you do. I think it's human nature to want to make the world, a better place. So just to figure that one out. And then Mind Tools goes on step 2. It says setting smarter goals, and I think comes down to what we said earlier. They say once you have set your lifetime goals, set a 5-year plan or smaller goals that you need to complete if you are to reach your lifetime plan. Then create a 1-year plan, 6-month plan, and a 1-month plan of progressively smaller goals that you should reach to achieve your lifetime goals. Each of these should be based on the previous plan. So, it's all about the journey. It's all about the journey. Set smaller goals for a shorter period of time, and then staying on course. And that's, in my opinion, the hard part. It really is a hard part. So once you've decided on your first set of goals, keep the process going by reviewing and updating your to-do list on a daily basis, and periodically review the longer-term plans and modify them to reflect your changing priorities and experience. A good way of doing this is to schedule regular, repeating reviews using a computer-based diary. I think it's something that, staying the course. Again, I'm so glad that Mind Tools put that in their blog, because it's so easy to lose focus, and all of us lose focus. I lose focus. Max loses focus because, life happens. And, as I said at the start and beginning, your plan, you're probably not, they're probably not going to go the way you think they're going to go. They're probably not going to go the way you think it's going to go, but stay the course. And it's the hardest part, but it's the most rewarding part. And it really shows whether or not you want it. All right. So, I think Max got back on, but we got around 3 minutes left. So I think, I'm going to keep going with what I was saying. And then, okay. They say further tips for setting your goals. And I like that one. I really, really like that one. Okay. Start each goal as a positive statement. Okay. This is what I said earlier. Express your goals positively. Execute this technique well is a much better goal than don't make this stupid mistake. That's the first thing. Hey, I said it in the beginning, but anyway. Also be precise. Set precise goals, putting in the dates, times, amounts that you can measure achievement. If you do this, you'll know exactly when you have achieved the goal and can take complete satisfaction from having achieved it. Also set priorities. Priorities are, and I really would advise to put them on paper. Don't keep them in your head. Put them on paper. So set priorities. When you have several goals, give each a priority. This helps you to avoid feeling overwhelmed, having too many goals, and it helps to direct your attention to the most important ones. Write goals down. This is what they say. This crystallizes them and gives them more force. Yeah, I think it's, just what I just said. Keep operational goals small. Keep low-level goals that you're working towards small and achievable. Because once you achieve the small ones, well, guess what? You'll have more confidence to achieve the bigger ones. Set performance goals, not outcome goals. So they say you should take care to set goals over which you have as much control as possible. Control equals power. You want control. It equals power. It can be quite dispiriting to fail to achieve personal goals for reasons beyond your control. In business, these reasons could be bad business environments or unexpected effects of government policy. In sport, they could include poor judging, bad weather, injury, or just plain bad luck. And then set realistic goals. I think it comes down to what we said earlier. It's important to set goals that you can achieve. And that's about it, guys. You know what? I was not able to get Max back on, but I think he's having a good time. I'm sure you heard him earlier. And for us, guys, time for us to ride off into the sunset. And we would like to thank those who pledged to our Patreon page. You are really helpful to the show, and we are grateful for your help. In case you're wondering, Patreon is a simple way for you to contribute to the network and podcast every single month and get super cool exclusive rewards in return. I promise you will love the perks. Our Patreon page is at frederickby.com and click Patreon in the header. The money is used to cover our production costs and editing time and sharing to different podcast channels, and you can contribute for as low as $1. And also, if you are an Amazon shopper, when you use our Amazon link at frederickby.com, Amazon kicks back a few bucks to the show, and it helps cover production costs at no additional cost to you. No hidden fees, no nothing. So, so all you gotta do is go to frederickby.com and click the Amazon link in the sidebar for all your online shopping. It is really that simple, and bookmark it to find it easier. And also, we're looking for new hosts. If you're an entrepreneurial person, hey, with a positive message, we will be glad to have you part of the network. And all you got to do is click on become a host at frederickby.com. And that's about it, guys. I want to say bye-bye, and we love you. You've been listening to What's Your Excuse with Max Ivy, known around the world as the Blind Blogger. For more information, you can go to theblindblogger.net or frederickby.com. That's Frederick with a C, by like bye-bye.com.